Welcome back. All right, now where were we? All right, so hang in there. We're in the home stretch now. Let's just look at the left side pane. Now this has those 6 accordion-style panels that you should be familiar with. The top one is, of course, your inventory, which you've already learned about. This is where you add physical items from your installation into the designer software. Next, you have the schematic pages. This is where you add, remove, rename, and delete pages from your schematic. You've probably seen that too already. So let's look at the user control interfaces. Now these work a lot like the schematic pages, but these are going to be specific to the interface you're creating for the end user to interact with. So you can drag very specific controls from the schematic onto these pages so that the user can control the system without having to wade through the entire design. So let's see, we'll add a page here, and why don't we actually copy over our little polygon. We'll plop that right there into our design. We can scroll down so they can see the whole thing. Now you'll notice that the interface has a properties panel, just like anything else. And this is where you can specify what type of device the end user is using. You can choose from one of these Q-Sys touchscreens, or maybe you can choose an iPhone or an iPad, so that way it's specific to what they will be using. Another cool thing is that you can actually drag a JPEG into your UCI to add a picture or a logo to your design. In fact, let's pull up a UCI that's actually been designed that shows you this. This here is a UCI that's been designed and is out there in the real world right now. That should give you a pretty good example of what your end design may end up looking like. All right, so back to the left side pane. Our last 3, we have our snapshots section. This lets you create a bunch of presets with different controls so that you can easily toggle between different setups, and we may have a tutorial on that for you to check out. Next is named controls. This lets you specify controls to be accessed by external devices. And then if you go to the tools option in the menu bar, you can actually select extract named controls, and this will create an XML file which will be useful to those devices. So that's one way you can hook those things up. Alright, finally there's the design inspector. This will look at your design for broken signal paths, and this happens automatically. You don't even need to tell it to run. Here, let's see it in action. Let's go over here to our audio player, open up its control panel, and we'll drag a play control into our schematic. And then we'll delete the audio player. Whoops, uh-oh, looks like we got trouble. Not only does the schematic tell us here that there's a problem, but the design inspector gives us this little warning icon telling us that we have an orphaned control. You can see right there, orphan control play. If you click on it, it'll tell you where that one is. And this will also show you if you have any unconnected signal names right here under unterminated signals. Alright, so that is it. We've obviously covered a lot in this tutorial, and you could spend a lot of time looking at each of these in more detail, and as we mentioned, we have a lot more tutorials that you can look at to take a look at those. But hopefully at this point you have a pretty good insight into how the software works, and you've really got an idea on where the components are that you're looking for. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.